Good evening. On the 21st of March, members of the public raised concerns to the Environment and Sustainability Panel over net zero initiatives. Evidence was supplied on how environmentally devastating lithium mining is for the proposed electric vehicle batteries, not to mention the cost in human suffering with child slavery for the cobalt required. Serious fire safety concerns were also raised. We've not received a response to our follow-up emails from either the previous panel or the new one. We therefore ask this committee to scrutinise why the Environment and Sustainability Panel are pushing ahead with environmentally harmful plans, ignoring safety concerns and the Council's own anti-slavery policy. It's critical that we can trust our local councils, as trust in government as a whole has been lost. It's imperative we don't make the same mistakes with climate change that were made with COVID. Despite propaganda on mainstream media falsely messaging to the contrary, it wasn't COVID, but government actions that have caused harm. Wildly inaccurate forecasting and unreliable testing of healthy people caused fear, financial hardship, and unforgivable abuses to the people, all under the guise of protecting our health. On the 19th of March 2020, before the first lockdown, UK Health Security Agency declared COVID was not a high consequence infectious disease. Despite this, Matt Hancock talked of deploying the next variants to frighten the pants off people, clearly demonstrating intent to use deception to manipulate through fear. Little wonder that trust is gone. Now a man-made climate emergency has been declared, but not debated. Like with COVID, discussion is censored and highly qualified scientists, including Nobel Prize-winning physicists, who see climate change as naturally occurring, are dismissed. Silencing experts and cherry-picking the data does not make the science settled. We must all protect our environment from pollution and unsustainable practices, but worryingly, a lot of the proposed green solutions are anything but. As well as electric vehicles, we are dismayed to see Colchester City Council officers insisting councillors pass planning for environmentally toxic solar farms on precious farmland. We have good people in this council who are trying to do their best for Colchester, but to get government funding, you're required to enforce policies that aren't always good for us. The overdevelopment of the city beyond the capacity of the infrastructure is a case in point. How can the council be objective about doing what's right for Colchester with large financial incentives from the government? If any faith is to be restored in our crumbling political system, it has to have a solid foundation at local level. We must have a council we can trust to do what is right. We therefore request this committee thoroughly scrutinise how environmental policies and planning decisions are made, and to make sure environmentally detrimental initiatives aren't being passed because of financial incentives or beliefs based on manipulated statistics. We look forward to a transparent, informative response. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation there, and obviously you're perfectly entitled to come here and present your views. I'm just not sure that I am in a position this evening to make you a promise about what this panel will scrutinise in any time frame, but to say that your presentation has been useful stimulation, and we are putting together a work programme in which we will look at various things that this authority does with a scrutiny panel. There is cabinet tomorrow. That is the executive function. So I don't know if you've got anything in your diaries tomorrow, but it might be that you would wish to present to those guys, because there are decision makers there.
There have been worrying things in terms of counter disinformation and things heading from top down. So I think we're all aware that narratives are being pushed and algorithms through social media are suppressing dissenting voices. I would like reassurance that we still have at least an illusion of democracy and we are not living in an authoritative dictatorship, because really that's how it's been feeling. We are here to challenge the system because we are watching what's going on, we are not happy with what's going on, and we are not going to be silenced, and we will continue to make our voices heard. What would work best for us is if we could work with all of you and look at the data and ignore the scientific manipulation that's got corporate interests at heart. Thank you.
And as for this little incident, goodness only knows why he was able to film most of it and then all of a sudden he wasn't.
So do you do this for every person that comes into the council
Yeah,
building?
any members of the public that want to attend a meeting are searched.
Right. And when has this come into operation? Because it wasn't like this the first time we arrived.
About a year ago when we had a lot of issues.
Aha.
Yet on the 31st of January this year, 30 people were allowed in with no searching whatsoever. It must have been security's night off.
January this year, wasn't it? I'm happy for you
We're
to...
documenting everything after last time. You might remember you jabbed your fingers rather hard into my neck. So we're going to monitor all of the council staff to make sure that doesn't happen again
We are hoping to avoid any assault.
this time. And can you tell me about the health and safety of this device, the EMFs and the frequency that that gives off?
Right, I'm not well convinced with all that, but
So you're using a device that you don't know will be harmful.
well, it would be the same thing if I ask you, do you know everything that's wrong about a microwave today?
I don't have a microwave because of the EMFs and the other things.
And if I did have a microwave, I wouldn't be waving it over members of the public.
See, what does that say on there? 101 hertz. Okay, we shall research into that, but you do know you are personally liable if you cause any harm to anybody that is electromagnetically sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these handheld scanners radiate out 20 centimetres from the device and need to be moved quickly, and they can interfere with pacemakers and other sensitive medical equipment, and this is something no one was warned about. We've been told by people who've worked in security that you're not to touch or inspect anything without asking for consent first, and that you only actually search someone if you suspect them. We were not asked for consent. So come on, Colchester Council, you really do need to properly train your security staff on how to use the equipment and attitude in general, especially the treatment of the last woman that walked in. Inappropriate things were done with that scanner, and she will be putting in a formal complaint, which we trust you will deal with appropriately. Do bear in mind that you do work for us, and if anybody in the private sector were to treat the people that pay their wages in the way you have treated us, they wouldn't expect to keep their jobs. This is a comment we've received from a Chelmsford councillor, and she says she'd never seen Chelmsford Council search people like we're enduring. And asking around, it appears other councils don't do this either. So what is going on at Colchester? What is it that you are up to that makes you fear the general public this much? Now, we've been through your accounts. We know what state you're in, so it's not like you have surplus money to pay for all of this.